In this guitar lesson, we'll be looking at how to play Live by the Drop by Stevie Ray Vaughan. For those who are interested, there is tablature available, but first, an impression of what's coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so how do you play that? So first, let me introduce you to the blues scale, which is what this thing is based upon. Blues scale is basically your pentatonic scale with a blue note added. So the pentatonic scale, A minor pentatonic scale in this case, is this. So you have open A, third of A, open D, second of D, open G, second of G, first of B, third of B, open E, and third of E, right? Now, the blue note is in first position here on the D string, right? So you're playing a D sharp there. The first two beats of that riff go like this. All right, so you play open A, third of A, then chromatically from D to D sharp to E, right? So open, 1, 2, and then you play open G, right? So 1, 2. Then you get this part. Once more. So you play open D string again. Then you make a hammer on and pull off in first position on that D string. So you get D, hammer on D sharp, pull off, and then you play third of your A string, right? So then you play that open D once more to third of your A string, and then you make a slide from first position of your G string to second, like that. So that first bar goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Then we get the second bar, and I'll play you the first two beats of that first. Here we go. So what do you do? So basically, we're playing that blues scale down, so descending. So you play open G, then you play second of D to first of D to open D, and then we get that hammer on and pull off thing again on first of that D string. So like this. And then you finish on third of A. Okay? So like this. So let's do that again. Those two beats, 3, 4. The next two beats go like this. 1, 2. Once more. So what do you do? So you start off with playing open D to third of A to open D again, right? So, and then you get this little lick, right? So you play third of A, and there's sort of a little bit of a microtone bend at the end, just before you play that A string. So you play open A there, and then you play second position of your G string. All right? So those two beats go 3, 4. And that second bar goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So now let's try to combine those two bars together. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the end where you play that third position on A to open A to second of G, I'm going to call that our triplet turnaround. So it basically brings you to the boogie riff that we're going to be talking about right now, right? But keep that in mind. So this thing here, that's our triplet turnaround. So now for the next two bars, I'll play them and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. 3, 4. All right, so what is it? So basically this consists of a basic boogie riff, boogie guitar riff, and you start off with playing your A power chord, so that's index finger on second of D, and you play open A with it, right? And you play the first one short, and then just before you play the second beat, you play this one long, right? And then you alternate with your A6 chord. So that is adding your ring finger in fourth of that D string. That one here. So you got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, right? But essential is that the ones that are on the beat, you play them short. So you basically just sort of stop the sound of the guitar by either doing left hand muting, right hand muting, or both. Now, you play that for, you play one of those riffs, so, and then we get a variation on that riff, which starts the same, but then it finishes off with that triplet turnaround that we just talked about, right? So we have the boogie riff, and then we get the start of the boogie riff, but then the triplet turnaround. So when we combine that, we get this 3, 4. Right? After that, you just get that boogie riff twice. Okay, so those two bars together, 3, 4. All right, so this is the intro. It's 4 bars. I know it's a long time to talk about just 4 bars, but we want to do it well so we can move through the rest of it increasingly quicker. So now for verse 1, I'll play you the first 4 bars, and then we'll get into how to play those on the guitar. Here we go. 3, 4. All right, so how do you play that on the guitar? So we are starting here with a variation on that boogie riff. We'll call this the boogie variation. It starts the same, so you start with that A5 chord, and then what you do is you play that A6, but instead of shortening it, you keep it long, and then you play open D, like this. All right, so instead of doing, you do this. Okay, so that is our boogie variation, and you play that twice in the first bar, so like this. Then we go to the next bar, and we play that same boogie variation, but then on the E chord, right? So we have our E5 chord with our index finger in second of A. And then we'll play E6 with our ring finger, of course, in fourth position of that A string. So like this. And then it is followed by the normal boogie riff. Right? So those first two bars go like this. So we have our boogie variation, E, normal boogie, and then we go to our strummed F sharp minor chord. So let's just call that the F sharp minor strum. And there you do the following thing. So you do 2 downstrokes on the bass string. Then you play the full chord with a down and up stroke. Right, so get down, 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 up, down, down, down. And then on that last upstroke, I have it written down that you sort of do an upstroke on the D power chord. It could just be, open D string or whatever, but that's sort of where you start to make the transition to the next bar, right? So you have down, 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 up, down, 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 up. And then we go to the next bar. And the next bar is basically your normal boogie riff, but now played on the D chord. So we have our index finger in second of G, play open D and G together, and we have... Right? And that concludes those first 4 bars of the verse. So let's play them together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... All right, so from here, things will move a lot quicker. So the next 4 bars will do the following things. So let me play them for you first, and then maybe you can already recognize the patterns that are being reused. Here we go. All right, so how do you play that on the guitar? Well, the first 3 are exactly the same as what we already played at the start of the verse, right? So you have that boogie variation twice on the A chord. Then on the E chord, you have the boogie variation followed by the boogie riff. Then you get the F sharp minor strum. And then we get to something that's just a little bit different. So instead of playing the boogie riff twice, you get a boogie variation followed by a boogie riff on the D chord. So like this. And that's it, right? So that means that we can move on to the chorus. Three, four. All right, so what do you do there? So you're playing that F sharp minor strum first. And then in the next bar, you play that boogie variation on the D chord, followed by the boogie variation on the E chord. Then you go back to the F sharp minor strum. And then you get the boogie variation again on the D chord, followed by the boogie variation on the E chord. Right? And then we go into the next 4 bars, so the ending of the chorus. And let me play that for you, and then we'll see what's happening there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... All right, so what do you do? Basically, you're laying down the F sharp minor chord. So we have, right? So 1, 2, then an upstroke on the A and D string on the and of 2. And then you're playing the D7 chord right? And then on the and of 3, you're basically playing some open strings or maybe something muted. And then on the first beat of the next bar, you're playing your E7, right? So you get 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and on the and of 2, because that's just a 2/4 measure, 2/4 measure, not too far. Upstroke on that E7 chord, and then you go into the boogie riff played for 2 bars on the A chord. All right, so let's play that verse and chorus together. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so after the first verse and chorus, you repeat that verse. However, there is just a small detail in there, and that is that the last bar of that verse, you don't play this part, which is the boogie variation and that normal boogie riff on the D chord, but you just play a strum on the D7 chord and you hold it for 4 beats, right? So what I'll do is I'll play the second half of that second verse for you, and that goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go into your second chorus. What I'll do is I'll play that second chorus for you. There are a few small variations in there. We'll just play it and then see what is what. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what are the differences? Pretty much the first 4 bars are exactly the same, right? So you have that F sharp minor strum going to the variation on the boogie, on the D chord, and on the E chord. Then you repeat that, but when you get back to that F sharp minor strum, that is a little bit different. And that goes like this. So I get 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Right? So what do you do? So you have a strum on the first beat on that F sharp minor chord. Then you play a strum on that same chord on the second beat. And then on the and of 2, you play either open D and G or maybe already playing part of that D7 chord. But anyway, so you got 1, 2, and on the 3, you play the D7 chord, 3, 4, and then on the and of 4, you play open A and D, and then you play 1, 2, and on the E7 chord, right? It's like this, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. And actually I said 3, but that is actually the 1 because that is a 2/4 measure, the E7 chord. So then you have, of course, that normal boogie riff on the A chord, and that goes like this, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. But in that second bar, it's a little bit different because the first time you get that boogie with that triplet turnaround, right? That we already played in the beginning. It's like this, right? With the exception that now it's at the start of the bar instead of at the end of it, right? So you play 3, 4, and then just finishing off with that normal boogie riff. So those last two bars, 3, 4, 1. All right. And then you move on to verse number 3. All right, so here's verse 3. I'll play it for you, and then we'll get into what little variations are in there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. All right. So what is different? Well, not a whole lot. So the first 3 bars are exactly the same as of the other verses. Bar 4, so on the D7 chord, there is a change. And there you play this. Sorry. So basically you strum the D7 chord. Then on the upstroke, you play the bass of that D7 chord. So that's the open D string. Then you do a downstroke on basically D, G, and B. And then you play an upstroke on that E strings like this. 1 and 2 and then you get a triplet and you play D, B, G. So D, B, G. Then you strum on the 4th beat, you strum the chord again. And then you remove your ring finger and on the upstroke, you play it again. Like that. So I get 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 1, and once more. Then you continue with your rhythm, right? So you go to your A. Same for E. And you play the F sharp minor chord, just hold that chord for 4 beats. Then you play the D7 chord and you play that, hold that for 3.5 beats. Right? And then on that last half, you play the start of the F sharp minor chord of the 3rd chorus. All right, so now on to the last part of this song, which is the chorus/outro. I'll play it for you first, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. It starts off with a variation on your F sharp minor strum. So what do? Start on the and of 4 of the previous bar, right? So you're playing an upstroke on that bass note. And then you get 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and, right? So up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then we get a new riff that goes like this. right? So what you do, so you play your open D and G, then second of D with an upstroke, then you play that second position again, and you do hammer on and then playing second position again. So like this, right? Then you play this. So you play an upstroke on that D in second, play it again, hammer on, pull off, and then play fourth of A, right? So those two bars together, 3, 4. Then we get our normal F sharp minor strum. And that new riff. And then we go really into all the tags in the ending. It starts with our F sharp minor to D7 to E7 turnaround. Goes like this. Now, what's good to know is that on the F sharp minor, what you do is you play 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Right? So the only thing is different is that playing the bass note and then the chord on 1 and 1 and then at the end of it, instead of just playing your normal riff or whatever, there's an extra variation in there, and that is playing that A5 chord twice, and then playing A6 once, and then playing A5 again, like this. Right? So when you play that fourth bar there, it goes like this. Okay, then you get into that F sharp minor, D7, E7 turnaround again. So 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3. And also there we have that ending, which is different. So, all right, then you go back into that turnaround, so F sharp minor to D7 to D7, E7, sorry, and then just playing the A chord instead of doing that other upstroke on the E7 chord. So once more, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. And that's the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. If there's any other stuff you want to do or whatever. Wishing you a great week or weekend, and hope to see you again next time. Bye.